All right, welcome to episode 16 of Watch Me Build a $1 Million Business. This is a behind-the-scenes series where I share everything that I'm doing to build a business up to $1 million in annual revenue or more. Today's episode is actually a part 2, which may end up turning into a part 3, called Sharpening Your Core Offers. This is perfect for you if you're a business owner or someone who plans to launch a business and you're having a hard time really describing your offer in your marketing campaigns, on your website, business cards, in person, etc. And that's ultimately leading to poor sales, poor conversions, which is basically meaning that your growth is going to stall out and you're going to hit a ceiling. This overall exercise, I suppose, will help you to effectively communicate your offer, improve your sales, and help you to achieve $1 million or more in sales in your business. So before we get started, if you'd like to follow along on this journey with me and get more strategies, tips, and tricks for growing your business, please hit that subscribe button below. And let's go ahead and get started. So I think it's important to recap really quickly what we've been doing, because it's been, for me, probably a week since I've filmed. A lot has happened around this offer situation in terms of just going down this path. This exercise has really opened up a ton of opportunities and ideas and things in my head that I've had to spend some time kind of sorting through. It's even actually going to change. Well, I shouldn't say it's not necessarily the catalyst for change in direction with the company itself, because I think in general, a little background on me, I'm going through a quantum leap year, which essentially means I'm going through a year of massive transformation. And a big part of that is change and transition and letting go of old things and saying yes to new things. So I would say in a normal situation, it wouldn't maybe feel this, I'm not sure even what the word is, but it feels like there's just a constant sense of like, okay, we're not really landing on a path. We keep changing the direction. The reality is really nothing is changing in terms of today. What's happening, though, is we're reorienting where we're aiming for tomorrow, which, the farther the arrow flies, the more off its target it will be. The more distance you have to go. So essentially, we're just kind of changing what we're aiming at a little bit. So recap, we started going through the assessment process. We started going through the offer process in the Growth Hub for the assessment, and then we were going to do the game plan, and then the course, and then the coaching. And then I wasn't just kind of, we haven't really dipped our toe as much in the offer development side of things. I mean, we do play a sort of an informal role in the offer development side of things with our clients. And that really just kind of stems more from me and my just natural inclination to go down that path with people and to help them dream and envision and turn those things into a reality, get them built, launched, tested, and grown. I probably could be a product developer in another lifetime, but we're actually going to finally go ahead and integrate that here. So all that to say, the offer exercise, I think, it's not weak in terms of what it is. It's weak in terms of it's incomplete. So this particular exercise is more designed to help you position a current offer. However, what I'm realizing, both in terms of what I want to offer my clients and in terms of a skill set I want to have, is the ability to be really good at just crafting an offer to begin with. And offer crafting, the difference between positioning and crafting is, in my mind at least, the positioning is how you package and communicate the offer. The offer crafting is actually putting something together that has of value essentially for your customers or your target customers. So what does that mean? That means that I started going down this path where we were kind of I was trying to lay out all the different offers that we have, and I was going to have this complete for this video, which I think I can still probably complete it. I've gone on and done a bunch of other exercises just kind of on my own in terms of ways of what is it? This one? Where is it? I've just branched out a bit and been playing with some other form factors in terms of like clarifying the offer and things like that. And yeah, our new core offer is going to be this growth partner proposal. Sorry, not the proposal. The growth partnership is our new core offer, whereas the agency Sherpa combination is our current one. This premium one, which is going to be the growth partner. Well, it's the uncommon growth partner if we're going to actually name it. And I'm taking the Tesla approach here a little bit strategically because we're going to have a number of offers. So really quickly, let me show you what the other offers are and kind of how they work. So our target customer essentially is business owners. In terms of niche, it really could be any niche. I'm still nailing down what's going to make us a company of one, a niche of one in that regard. So I don't really have that today, but it doesn't really matter for the purposes of this. We have an assessment, and in that assessment, there are 4 stages of growth that your business can be in. Proof, which is an idea. Predictability, which is an idea that's starting to get some sales and you're getting some feedback from customers. Profitability, you're consistently selling this product or service. And now you're working towards doing that in a way that is also profitable. And then performance is essentially doing all of the above at scale. So the Tesla model is Tesla funded a new, I don't want to say sector or industry because it's not like they were the first to do electric vehicles, but the approach that, regardless of what you feel about Elon, I know he's a polarizing figure. I think he was really smart in the way that he rolled out the Tesla models. He started with the S model, which is the luxury model, and that he was able to charge a premium for that, and that was really able, I think, to give him what he needed to fund everything for the previous stuff. So it's like start with your biggest one first and go down versus start with your smallest one and go up. So that's kind of what we're doing here is I'd say we really kind of have lived in this realm a lot with the agency. The agency does a pretty good job for the most part in that realm. We can do very well here. There's a few disciplines that I'll get into that we need to improve upon. Some core competencies, and then this one is it's really hard to find people that have the money to work with you at this stage as well. So yeah, so we have these are the 4 stages. At this stage, I can offer you any offer really, but the core one that I'm looking for is this premium product, where we basically come in as a growth partner, and we haven't nailed the exact, I'm not done with the offer exercise, but essentially, we're either going to take people to 10 million or we're going to double them, something. I'm not exactly sure what the promise is going to be yet because it's going to be somewhat dependent on the industry that we choose and kind of how the offer zeroes in. You have to kind of balance the promise that you're making with the actual ability to fulfill it, right? Like I do believe in under promise, over deliver. So I'm kind of working that out behind the scenes. But we would take no more than 3 of those people, and then the agency would be, you're essentially, it's the same service, but it's a much lighter touch. It's a much slower pace. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to keep this service. This is a question mark for me right now. I feel like this is just a better version of that. And why pay for a inferior version of the same thing that's going to get you inferior results? I just don't. Maybe I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, then we can offer one-on-one coaching, and then we're going to be building out a community and a course around the Growth Hub and all those exercises. And actually probably one of the other core competencies that we're missing as well. So I started filling this out. This is just, I found somebody that had a very similar idea. They are specifically in the B2B space, and they do a lot of like yes, marketing is a big part of what they do, but sales, it seemed like sales was really kind of their thing. And I thought this was great. Like I was reading this guy's landing page, and which I don't know if I saved it somewhere. So I unfortunately can't give him credit. Maybe I'll throw it in the notes or whatever. It's this dude right here though, or these dudes. So if you know them, give them a shout out in the comments. It seems like they kind of took a similar path that I took, which is they really took a step back, looked at their offer. They probably went down the Hormozy pathway on his $100 million offers. Like they arrived at a lot of the same conclusions when I was reading their landing pages, which is wild because I really haven't met anyone else out there in the marketing space that thinks along the same lines as I do. So I kind of took their sales letter and I deconstructed it and sort of turned it into a template, as you can see. That's why I have insert biggest pain, fear. And then I have all these other components that, we're eventually going to use to create an exercise so that we can really hone this process in and turn around and create a additional exercise that will likely live in the hub for creating an offer on the value side of things. So I've been working on that and going through. So this is a bit more of a narrative form, which I think the narrative form. So if you look at it, it's who's it for? What are we trying to achieve? Here's the results that we've seen, which, by the way, it's kind of crazy. I don't really pay too much attention to this, but we came in on this company 6 months. This is actually 6 months of data. We took them from 2.64 million annual recurring revenue to 3.9. So they had a $1.26 million increase in 6 months, which that's not really what we're trying to do for them. It is. It's a downstream effect, but we're mostly just trying to grow their subscriber base because they're a paid subscription SaaS product. So I don't really pay attention to the numbers. I shouldn't say that. I don't pay attention to the dollars. We pay attention to the leading indicators, which is going to be things like CPA and churn and ARPU and So, but in the process of doing this exercise, this is why this stuff is good to do. You take a step back, you get out of the weeds, and you go, "Holy crap! We grew them by 47% in 6 months." This company is hitting all-time highs. They've been around probably close to a decade at this point, and we're like crushing it for them in 6 months, as you can see. Anyway, going through this process, I figured out kind of what the offer needs to look like. from an execution perspective. So I'm really still just zeroed in on this premium offer. And I have it split into 5 stages. These are the stages that the customer would go through, or the client would go through, from a service fulfillment perspective, right? So when you're doing offer crafting, like I said earlier, you have to make sure that you're also able to, fulfill whatever promises you make. So I'm over here trying to make promises that I can double somebody's business in a year, or else I'm going to continue getting to that number for free. I need to make sure that I can fulfill on that. And I'm very confident that I can. However, I just wasn't really, I don't know. I just hadn't looked at it this way before. Just that frame helped me to see some gaps in what we currently have. So the first stage is onboarding. That's where we'll walk people through their hub exercises. We'll get a feel for their goals, their story, their customers, we'll go through their offer positioning as it is today, their offer value as it is today, their brand, their customer journey, their numbers, and then we'll put a plan together, etc. So it's all kind of the same thing as we would do. Because I'm charging a premium, actually, I'm going to say this is here. We're going to go ahead and spend the money on bringing in some data and analytics people that can help it. So one of the biggest challenges I have with every client, especially in these niche of one areas, is they all have different tech stacks. They all have some kind of this is like the number one problem I feel like if anyone could solve, it would be, which like there are some solutions out there that kind of like assist with it, but having all the data talk and translate, like I'm waiting for AI to fix this problem. Like just data is never clean. It's never the same across different things. It's always just like, I don't know what it is, but yeah. If you own a business, you probably already know that you either have terrible data insights, or inconsistent, or unmatched, or just it's just stupid. Everything's so siloed. So, long story short, having somebody come in to really help us establish alongside this customer journey the numbers that need to go along with that, and some dashboards. That's something historically that has fallen on me in the company, which is, I love numbers and I'm a nerd with it. But it's really like, I'm fine on the data side once I have the data, but I'm really, like manipulating it and cleaning it up and, etc. But I'm not fantastic at the SQL and all the database and all the tech side of it. So we need that. We need to know what we're dealing with so that will help us improve our plans. Another thing is I'm realizing, if you've watched any of these other videos, which I'm going to update the Summit Guide here in a bit for us, as well as our journey map, once I kind of get to the end of this monologue on what's going on with this offer. I'm going to, if you've seen this before, whenever we have a target, the way that we implement against that target is we always ask what has to be true, what has to be true, what has to be true, what has to be true. And you keep doing that until you run out, until you don't have to ask that anymore. So it's a deeper layer, or until you have the next step that you take. So if you imagine for a moment that you're wanting to drive from the East Coast to the West Coast, well, what has to be true? Well, first you got to go west. You got to have a car, and then you have to have gas, and then you have to know where you're going, and then you have to go this way, and then you have to turn that way, and then right. So it's like you can back into, you start from the end in mind, and you back into all the way then down to the next step. So that's what this is really, is me asking, okay, well, what would actually have to be true in order to achieve like just insane success for people that are at the level where they need to scale. And it's not really anything different or outside of our current core competencies. It's just some like tweaks and some refocusing. So that data analysis I'm saying is yellow because we could definitely improve there. I mean, we can improve on all of these, but there's a degree of like, yeah, this is a problem, and then this either doesn't exist or it's just trash. And so all the red ones actually don't exist. We currently do not call customers like of our clients. And when I say that out loud, it sort of sounds ridiculous because if you've never spoken to your customers or your clients' customers, like you will learn more in 5 phone calls with like qualified customers than you will probably in any of this other stuff. I mean, that might be an exaggeration because you'll learn a lot here and here as well, but still, this is going to fill in all the gaps and help you create a complete picture. And then the last piece is really platform access, and that's just as simple as like getting us all of the logins to everything. And the reason why this is important, or like why I'm like making this a core competency, is because of it's not a number of this PITS over here, which I'll get into in a minute. So this means we now have met with you. We've gone through all these exercises to uncover the DNA of your business. We've gone through all of your data. We've talked to your customers, and we've now like got access to all your platforms so we can do our own audits. So, boom, intake done. Next piece, Summit Guide. That's this. We actually have a plan. We will have the pathways mapped out, which is more or less an exercise that looks something like this. So we know what are the different customer segments and states, what's the critical pathways that they need to move through, and what are the communication goals, et cetera, at each of those stages, what already exists, what needs to be built, yada, 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 yada. We're very good at that. And then there's the offer sharpening, which is you're kind of coming in the middle of me realizing that like this video was supposed to be me finishing this offer sharpening process, which I think we're going to get there. I just took a little bit of a detour because it's just kind of blown a lot of things up. But this needs to be an exercise and a discipline and a competency that we are very, very, very good at. Because I do believe that this is going back to what must be true to be successful, this is a key piece of success. There's probably like another one here that I'm not too worried about for today that just kind of came to my brain, and I'll explain when I get there. Okay, build. That's where we actually go when we build out whatever we said we were going to do here. So that this is all just like building and launching. So if you are already in a place where you have, now granted, if we're working with you at this stage, you probably already have most of what you need. And so if we're building anything, it's, maybe for the actual pits that we're going to run. If not, then it's because there's just some gaps in your acquisition pathway or in your value pathway. And we need to go get a baseline put together so that we can go and do the pits. So PITS stand for profit iteration testing. It is basically A/B testing, or the scientific method applied to marketing. And here's an example of one of our PIT testing guides for a client where these are all the different tests that we've ran and or are running. And I will be adding the PIT process into the hub very soon as well. So the reason why I said this is yellow is we actually do a pretty good job of executing pits when we execute them. I think the problem is right now we need to be pits really are like the strategy behind it is if you can create 1% improvement compounding, you're going to get up to exponential improvement, right? So I think a lot of business owners look at people in the marketing space and say, oh, these people are experts. They know exactly how to make me do XYZ, yada, yada. You know, there are some people out there like viral experts, for example, that maybe like have deconstructed what makes a video go viral. Or somebody that's deconstructed like the perfect ad. Like there's those things, those people exist. But they're honestly people that are skilled at it. They are rare. And most or expensive. So your average agency, I'm just going to tell you, most of the people that run these average agencies and even some of these coaches, they don't know shit. Like they really don't. They have followed something from somebody else. They have essentially copy pasted and they're running a recipe, right? But they don't know how to make their own recipes. They're not really good at cooking. They're just super good at like, I can make mac and cheese all day long, you know, whatever it is, that's what they can do. And so, you know, when things start to spill out of that, that's usually where, you know, clients that we work with tend to struggle with agencies is because like they just really didn't really know what the hell they were doing. And that's because they're not spending the time to think about this stuff and observe and do all this work themselves. Okay. Now I have to remember why I was saying all that to begin with. Maybe I'll connect the dots. But essentially, the profit iteration testing. Okay, I do remember now. Most business owners they come to us thinking that we can save them, that we have the crystal ball, that we can rub our hands together and make money appear. And it's true, we can. And for those of us that are good at it, have a track record of it, and experience, you know, we're probably like our guts are going to be probably on point about 80-90% of the time in terms of like, yeah, this is the way I think you should go do it. But then there's this kind of unquantifiable component, which is like you can't account for every variable. And so everything needs to be a test. My coach recently said to me, a coach that like I have a mindset coach, and he said, I don't remember who told him, but life is a split test. And I was like, oh, I love that. And so the key to success, once you have your acquisition pathway built, your value pathway built, you've achieved profitability, you can predictably and profitably acquire new customers and deliver value, and you're ready to scale, you need to do iterations to improve each stage of that relationship that you have with your prospects and customers to reduce the friction and improve and increase the value, right? So we want to reduce the amount that it costs to acquire them. We want to increase the value that they're worth to the business. And the way that we do that is through that compounding improvement on each touch point. And that is profit iteration testing. Now, it's yellow because two things. One, I don't think we move very fast with it. I think our cycles are a bit slow. The faster you can learn, like it's really learning is the goal. It's not money. Money. Like, you remember how I was saying earlier? I don't really pay attention to this. I pay attention to honestly what. And when I say this is, you know, an improvement. Like we're bringing them money. You know what I mean? But like, that's not what I care about. I mean, I do care about it, but like, it's not what I monitor in order to judge myself as successful. I don't know if you've ever gone bowling before, but obviously the goal of bowling is to knock down the pins, but you don't aim at the pins, you aim at the arrows in the lane, because those are the leading indicators. And if your ball crosses the correct arrow, which is, maybe 20, 30% in front, this is literally exactly what, you don't aim at these, you aim at these. Right? These are called leading indicators. You hit this, you'll hit where you want to hit down there. And so that's the focus that I have for, this client in particular. And guess what? We're throwing strikes because we're hitting the arrows. So our cycles need to move faster. And then there's kind of two reasons why our cycles move slow. One is, wouldn't you know it, data. So really having a good grasp and understanding of what is happening is kind of one challenge. And then another one is related to this platform access, which is control. If we're working with a client that has a production bottleneck on, let's say, creatives or development or copywriting or fill in whatever blank you want, then they are going to become a bottleneck for how fast we can test and iterate. Because essentially we believe that you can iterate into success. Like as long as you have enough time and or dollars to make that work, and you're willing to let go of what you want it to be and let it be what your customers want it to be, you're going to win. You're going to win in some way, shape, or form. You will be a winner. And so that's why we need this to improve. So we need those top line things to improve. Partnerships, the one I just kind of thought of here. There is one other, going back to the what must be true component. There is one other piece of things that can sometimes be a hindrance to people. So let's say you have you're in performance, and you are self-liquidating, meaning for every dollar you put in the machine, you're getting, let's say, $3 or more out. Great. But there's a couple things. One, how long does it take you to get those $3? And two, you have to move at the speed of cash. So the speed of cash, which is great for most businesses, or if you can grow organically and own 100% of your business. By organically, I mean without other funding, outside funding, that's awesome. But if you have a fire pit with a great fire built and you want some gasoline, then it would probably be good to, or you want to, if you're in a position where it's hey, we need to strike now. This is a huge thing. We've got it working. We've got it dialed in. We need to pour some gasoline on this fire. I think it would be nice to have some partnerships around the funding perspective, or around the funding avenue of things. I do know some people in this space, and there's a lot of options there, but being able to offer that, or at least connect my clients with somebody that can offer that, I think is a big deal. And then the last thing, which is so stupid, but I should be paying. It's stupid because it's obvious. It's not stupid because it's bad. We need to work on our language over here. It's a whole nother tangent I'm not going to get into, but celebration. We should be celebrating this. We just took them to 42 or so thousand users from, 30 something thousand users. And we were aiming for 50 by the end of the quarter, but now they are talking about aiming for 80 and getting capital to put behind that. Great. Wonderful. Love it. We should have celebrated this. They've hit all-time highs. They've hit huge growth. They're just winning like crazy. Why are we not having some kind of a party? Why am I not sending them an email that says like, with confetti, like it should be something along the lines of like, woohoo, we reached this milestone. Like, I need to be reminding people the value that I bring to them because I'm just over here doing what I do and just making them money, and they know. I mean, they know. But it's, this company's large enough that I'm not working directly with the owner anymore, the CEO. I'm working with like the marketing team or the growth team, I guess you'd call it. And so like, we're just always focused on inputs. And, we do keep alignment with the goal, but the goal is a user goal, not a revenue goal. And that's because the user goal is a leading indicator to the revenue goal. So if you say, so for them, since they're a subscription company, they are asking, well, what would have to be true to break even from an operational perspective just on monthly recurring revenue? 80,000 users. Great. How do we get to 80,000 users? Well, we have to get our CPA down to globally $25 or less. Great. How do we do that? And that's, what we do. So anyway, I think you get the point. So there's some things that are changing inside of my business. This isn't the offer in terms of like, I guess it is the offer. It's the offer in terms of what we're delivering. It's not the offer in terms of the transformation that we're offering, the value that we're exchanging. This is this is how most people think about things, which is like, what action am I taking? What am I doing? Whereas your customers are thinking more about this, right? They really do not care about any of this. They do not care. They only care about this. And they will care about this if you tell them that they need this to get this, right? So the hub already has this kind of piece in it, and now we're working on building this piece. So that's done. At least catching you up is done. I still, like I said, I have more details to hammer out. I'm trying to get more clarity for myself so that I can effectively talk about this and sell it. I am making some internal shifts with my team, and some responsibilities and some directions. As a result, so the ship's starting to turn. And I need to go and update this journey map. So I mentioned, I think at the beginning of this call, that I'm going through this quantum leap year. And the quantum leap year is essentially well, let's see. Is it a thing that exists already, or is it just my thing? Okay. Apparently it's a show. Well, anyway, what it is to me, a quantum leap year is essentially a year where you make massive transformations in your life. And you do that by creating an extensive amount of awareness, really self-awareness. It's like self-awareness, self-love, self-care as a daily practice. It's all mindset stuff. It's like doing all the things that nobody really wants to do, that you feel like you don't ever see results from until you do it enough times and then you see the results. So it's becoming aware of your patterns, your limiting beliefs, it's changing your thinking, it's changing your programming, it's all that stuff, all that frou-frou stuff. I've been working on it for a few weeks and it's already been so transformational for me. But so as a side effect of that, I have started thinking more about my life and where I want to go. And, I still want to build $1 million business. That hasn't changed, but the business that I want to build first has changed. When I zoom out and I look at my life, the original thing I wanted to create here, which I still want to create, is I want to transition Jolly Sherpa away from a wholly done-for-you agency to an AI business assistant software platform. That's basically, I want to turn the hub into an AI business manager that you have a dialogue with, and it eventually will actually build stuff for you and give you insights, and you're having a daily conversation with this thing that's designed to help you improve. It's taking all of our stuff and putting it into an AI, basically. I was working on that the end of last quarter of 2023 and the beginning of this quarter of 2024. And then we lost a bunch of agency clients. So I was in the process of transitioning. And then I had to take a pay cut because of that. And I had to move some things around. I didn't have to, but I do that because I want to maintain stability for my people. I do think that sometimes, there's that whole debate of risk and reward from owners versus employees. But, I think that employees do take a risk when they work for you, especially if you're a small business owner and you do have a responsibility to try to keep things going during harder times. Then I'm not a big layoff person if I can avoid it. Obviously at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do, but I will take a hit before my team does. That's just, I feel like servant leadership. And if you're not doing that, then you're kind of an asshat. But whatever, that's my little speech. So what this created, though, was it meant that I had to take my eye off of developing this. It also made me realize that I am not coming at this from a position of stability. I am coming at this from a position of Hail Mary. And I'm not smart when it comes to, I should rephrase this. I don't have the skill set at this point to be proficient in AI or coding. I have a little bit of a coding background, but it's just not my thing. So I know enough to architect and talk about it with the developer, but I can't go make that myself. Spreadsheets is probably as far as I go these days. If I was already making personally millions and millions of dollars, I would just be hiring somebody to go right now and it would just be, I'd have a team. We'd be going and making this happen. Boom, here we go. I, in the past, have done, just for context, this is not my first company. This is my 6th or 7th company in my lifetime. Not to mention the hundreds of other companies that I've worked with as clients. And so you could ask the question, why not go down the path of just going and getting funding and going and starting one of these things? It violates our principles of validation and iteration, so I'm not going to do that. I don't believe that that's my path. For some people, they can go say, hey, I got this cool idea, and get in front of a bunch of venture capitalists and raise $1 billion and then go waste all that money. No. Or maybe be successful if they're considered a unicorn. It's the whole startup space. I'm a little bit anti-startup, but not anti-startup, if that makes sense, because I love entrepreneurship. Just don't like a little bit of the culture around it. I think it's a bit wasteful. And it's a bit of a money shell game, especially if you get into the private equity space is sort of it's kind of like the housing the lending space. It's just a shell game. So anyway, I want to create some stability, and ultimately, I ended up writing this down so that I could put it in here. I wrote this down earlier so I could put it in here now, and I realized, because I was I should probably let people see this as I go through it, and then I just stopped. I was working at a coffee shop earlier. I was writing down all my notes for the next time I got on here, and I was it's been a week. There's a lot to catch people up on. Let's just go ahead and do it. So I came home, and here we are, and So I'm going to get you caught up on where I'm going. So instead, I want to build a company that can design, launch, scale other companies and make me at least 50% margins in the process. I hope that this is a birthplace for other ventures and entrepreneurs. I do one-on-ones for my team, and a lot of times I feel like a lot of my team is contractors and freelancers, so I do feel like I end up kind of coaching them, and I even had a executive assistant one time that quit to go start her own company, and she's doing phenomenal. But like, I create a culture at my company that fosters that. Like, I don't care if you're with me for life, like, please go be successful. And if you can do your best work while you're here, great. As soon as this isn't for you, like, please go. It's okay. I want you to be in a place that's in alignment with and for you. And if we are a stop in that journey, let's just make the most out of it while we're together, and then you can move on. So I would love the idea of birthing other entrepreneurs and birthing other businesses. So essentially, I want to create a business that can create or scale businesses. Because if I had that, I could be doing this AI thing right now. So my motivation is now changing to this. Why am I doing this? I'm super passionate about entrepreneurship. I think entrepreneurs are the modern day explorers, wanderers, pilgrims, rebels, and leaders. I want to see as many people as I can create freedom, impact, and success in their businesses, first for themselves and their families, and for their clients/customers. When I wrote this, it kind of felt like I've heard other people say stuff like this before, and it always sounds so cheesy or just kind of like generic. But this really, like, I get so excited when I find that, like, I'm the guy that in my friend group, I'm like, you guys should quit your job and start a company. Like, they'll be like, oh, I had this idea for this thing, and da-da-da. I'm like, you should totally do it. Let me help you. And they're like, nah. They always say no. It's the entrepreneurship's not for everyone, but I love it. And I love seeing people take control of their lives. I love seeing people go and take a risk on what they're passionate about and be successful at it and create change for others in a way that's meaningful for them and their clients, and to transform their personal lives and their families. I just think like there's so much growth that comes out of it and so much net value. I just love it. It's great. So yes, it's not lip service for me. I want people to be successful. And then also, I kind of forgot about this because, you get in the weeds a lot of times with life. And you can sometimes forget some of your bigger visions and dreams. And so that's, kind of part of this quantum leap year is really, where do I want to be in 20 years or however, insert time horizon. The alignment is a big part of this quantum leap year, and the AI business is definitely still in alignment. However, it's only one of many businesses that I actually would love to create. And I think I'd be okay if for some reason I didn't create that one. I think I wouldn't be okay if I didn't create this one. Because this one is the Genesis one. This is what will do all of it. So I want to own many businesses. Some I will acquire. That's the other thing. I would be buying businesses right now if I knew I had a team in place that we could come in. We've got already everything worked out on how we do stuff. How do we overhaul it? I'd either be flipping or I would just be buying and like massively improving the efficiency of it and just collecting the profits from it. Do you know what I'm saying? And then maybe flipping. Like that's way more in alignment with who I am and what my skill set is than this AI thing specifically. Not that I couldn't do that, but this is me. This is me. So some businesses I'll acquire, some I'll be, partnerships. They'll be collaborative partnerships. Some I'll just be an investor. Some I'll sit on the board. Some I'll build myself. I not only love what entrepreneurship provides to the world, but I'm such a huge nerd around business and growth strategies that I love the idea of building something that is clearly in line with my personal core values, which my personal core values are freedom, fulfillment, challenge, abundance, essentialism, authenticity, and love. And I feel like this is that for me. Except for maybe love, other than I think I could maybe interchange that with connection, which the team I want to build, I would have a really cool and connected team, which takes me to success. What does success look like? I have a crew of people, like an Ocean's 11 team. This is made up of people that are top in their space. They are excited and hungry to continuously knock it out of the park for our companies and our client, clients' businesses. It's a weird sentence. Don't judge me. I know what I mean. They get compensated much higher than industry average. And there's a general overall excitement to be a part of this team. I see us doing collaborative and creative pit meetings and having everyone involved in creating success for our businesses. Okay. Celebration. By the way, this is as far as I got before I came home to film. Honestly, I do not know. I haven't dreamed about the celebration yet. So yeah, the end game here means this does change too. So the end game becomes I can create other businesses because I have a business creating business. I can create other businesses like the AI business. I can probably write a book if I wanted to, or start a podcast, which this is sort of a podcast. Etc. I do have the roles. Essentially, oh my gosh. I have the financial, technical, and human resources I need to create whatever I want to create. Okay, we're going to fill in the roles here really quickly. So, as a result of this, I was like, okay, here's what we need to make sure we have in place. A Sherpa, which in the beginning will be just me. We'll have our pit master, which will be probably also our execution team lead, so they'll be over implementation. We'll have our success Sherpa, which is our like kind of point of contact, gopher, and support. Our data specialist, which will be the person that goes and gets all the data. Our project manager, making sure that we get stuff done. Ads manager, email manager, designer, developer, writer, editor. We probably could throw in an SEO manager. That's more or less it. Do my guardrails change? Well, let's see. Do my resources change? Probably a little bit. Does my goal change? So this is where the whole SMART goals would probably come into play. Realistically, so let's go to our summit guide. Oh, let's see. Okay, so we're still at 25,000. We're kind of on cruise control right now. Can we hit 50 by the end of March? That's 6 weeks. What would have to be true to hit 50? I don't know that it is possible while still maintaining alignment. Because even if I sold, let's say, 2 of these, I mean, we would make 50 grand from those 2. But I don't know. Dilemmas. This is off the table for right now. Honestly, this is kind of the objective that I need to complete. What does that mean? That means I need to go sell one of these, essentially at full price to a stranger in the marketplace. So to do that, we need to finalize the offer. We complete marketing. Complete and launch all marketing assets. When I say cold client, I mean somebody that, I guess cold meaning like they were not referred to me. Oh, there's going to be one other piece I just remembered. I guess it's maybe... the proof machine is the kind of last piece, which is, if you're a service provider like B2B, we need to be really good at doing case studies. If you're a D2C business, you need to be really good at getting reviews and testimonies, especially if you have a really great offer. See how this all kind of comes together? Okay. Yeah, like I feel like realistically, even if I hustle really hard, and end of March before this launches, how could I launch it faster? I do not know yet. So I don't think we need a third objective. Honestly, I think we need to just make sure that we're in a good spot to do this, and then we can look past that. So I'll keep this here for now. but I think in essence, it's really this. It's just easier, I think, mentally for most people to grasp the goal as a number instead of as a, because what it really should be is this. Bloop. Right? But if you don't keep this here, then you also suffer from the same issue that I had before, which is like, oh, you're not paying attention to the fact that you just increased sales by 50%, annual sales by 50% in 6 months. Like, you just don't know that. So you still need, I think it's still good to keep the bottom line numbers here for now. So yeah, the next step, well, is this. Finalize the offers. So that'll be part 3. I will finalize the offers. Then we'll start building what needs to be built for that. And then we will come back around and do some exercises. We'll fill in any fulfillment gaps. One of them will be creating an exercise. Whew, okay. All right. So yeah, there's going to be a part 3 for this one. As always, if you'd like to continue following me on this journey, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you next time.